Welcome back to this week's Mungle Show, and it's kind of interesting. I feel like we haven't really gotten together and done a show in a while.
In a long time.
It's like we took a break and there's some things going on. You started back to school, which isn't really an excuse.
Yeah, it didn't change
I like
anything.
to use that excuse. I like to say, well, you had to start school, so we took some time off, but things just got, they get hectic and busy. But,
they can.
But at the same time, I think it was perfect timing because nothing really grand has come out except for 9.
That was a good movie.
Which was a great movie, and still probably one of my favorite movies so far of the post-summer films that have released. The two we're going to talk about this week, one you saw, one I saw, and I'm curious to see who had the worst film to watch. This whole entire show is going to be a top worst of anything.
This is one of those kind of movies?
It is. So let's start with FAME, which I sent you to see. And you were excited about seeing it.
I was, because I've seen the original one, and I'm thinking, oh, great, a modern version of a great FAME movie. Mm-hmm. And I had the song stuck in my head the entire way there in the car, just like, FAME. Right. And then I got there. And
yeah, because we were even texting back and forth like FAME lyrics,
I know.
Fly high,
and the fact that we both know them, it's great.
Right.
But when I got there and sat down in the theater, went right down from there.
Right. Now, was the problem more because it's pretty much a remake of the 80s movie. They didn't try to modernize it, didn't they? Did they stay true to the original script, or did they try to make it like a...
Some pieces they kept the same, but some of the characters they totally changed around to be completely different.
Yeah, see?
And some of the characters didn't develop at all in the 4 years. You'd think that after going to 4 years to a performing arts school, you'd get better at acting and doing your monologues, but not at all. Because the dancing and the singing, amazing, really great, but the acting was horrible.
So do you think they focused on that and figured if we can just make it a great dancing and singing movie, then nobody will notice the bad acting?
If we can get the 2 out of the 3, then we're good. I think they try to get away with that, thinking that people who loved High School Musical and movies like that are going to be totally fine with this.
Right.
But no.
But no.
Not at all.
Yeah, and and you can get by with that in the real musical world. Like when I review actual musicals, I sometimes will let them slide on the acting. I mean, if they can get up there on stage live and dance and sing and pull the choreography off and still have a decent storyline, I will tend to forgive the acting.
Yes.
But not in a movie that's based on a musical. I don't know why that's different. I think because they get so many takes and it's not live and it's a film, I expect more acting out of that.
I definitely expected more acting out of it, and what I got was not even high school level acting.
Wow.
It was really bad.
That really is a shame. Now, it's rated PG-13. No, it isn't. It's rated PG.
Yeah, just PG.
Yeah.
The original movie is rated PG-13. Well, not PG-13, rated R, because back then they didn't have PG-13. But because there was cussing.
I didn't remember that the original was R, but yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah, because they just jumped straight from one to the next.
Right.
But in the original, there was cussing left and right, but in this one, only one cuss word the entire movie.
Interesting. So they obviously were going for the High School Musical mindset.
I know, going for the younger kids. I mean, for the younger audience, I bet they're going to love it because they're not going to be paying attention to the acting.
Right.
They'll be like, great singing, great dancing, that's going to be me someday. Mm-hmm. But for the older people, you can't really buy all of it.
Right. Now, so would you recommend it for, like, let's say a parent to take their 9, 10-year-old to go see who maybe wouldn't be interested in an actual musical, but just kind of get their feet wet in the theater? Is it? I would recommend hold their attention.
I would recommend it for that. But if you want to see a movie with amazing acting that engages the audience, no, not at all. Right. But just to get your kid their feet wet in that kind of genre and department, it does show a lot of interesting things about the actual performing arts schools.
Right. Interesting. Okay. There again, it's called FAME, out in theaters, and I'm glad I missed it. I'm a big fan of musicals. I'm a big fan of that whole genre.
It wasn't even like a real true musical either. It only had a few actual singing numbers in it.
Right.
The rest was just acting. I should do that actually.
Yeah.
Air quotes on that word.
Crazy. Well, the one I saw, unfortunately, was no better. And this is a film that I had high expectations for. In fact, going into the press screening, I met some of the other press people out in the lobby, and we're walking in, and they're all like, "Oh, I just hope it doesn't suck. I hope it doesn't suck." And I was like, "I think it's going to be good." I just kept reiterating the fact that I think it's got a really cool concept to it. The previews look awesome. The poster's awesome. With the girl with like the metal spine,
the ridge and everything.
Yeah, I was like, this could be really cool and futuristic. It's got Bruce Willis, who normally knocks him out of the park.
Definitely.
As we're soon going to see in another segment. But so I was like all geared up for it. I went in, I was like, this is going to be very cool. One of the worst films I have seen in so many years, and it was so disappointing.
What was the worst part about it? What made it so bad?
Well, from the beginning and the middle and then the end.
Oh, really? Those are the parts that went wrong?
Those are the parts that all went wrong. Have you seen iRobot?
Yes.
Have you ever seen the old version of a movie called Stepford Wives?
Yes.
Have you ever seen, let's see, what would another one be? Well, actually, if you just took those two and you slammed them together, you've got a really bad version of the movie Surrogates, which is the movie I'm talking about with Bruce Willis that came out this weekend.
Really?
It was like they tried to do the iRobot thing because everybody has this surrogate, so nobody leaves their home anymore. Mm-hmm. They're all inside, wired up to this thing, and they send their surrogates out, which is a robot that kind of it's
lives
almost
their
like
life.
Their avatar almost, and it lives their life. So the crime rate's gone down. There's no sickness, no disease, but there's also no children and no animals because that would just blow the whole plot out of the water. So the whole time I'm thinking,
wait, no children anywhere?
Nowhere. It's almost like, and they haven't.
It's almost like Children of Men in a way.
Children avatars yet, or children surrogates yet. So they can't work them into the plot, so they should leave them out entirely.
Take them out.
Movie. There's no kids anywhere, or animals or anything. And so, so that was one just thing that was kind of laugh out loud. But then the rest of it was just simply these robotic avatars who just kind of, they were perfect in their form and their looks, and they tried to do almost that Wall-E kind of plot line too, where society has come to a point where there's no interaction and no engagement. You just sit at home with your eyes closed and whatever you think happens, and you don't have to engage socially with anybody or anything. Mm-hmm. And so it just became this movie where the acting was not bad, but the plot was so bad that there was nothing for them to do.
They left no room for them to do anything creative or good.
Absolutely, and they had great concepts like the social interaction, and Bruce Willis's character, he's tired of that. He wants to go back where you can, it's flesh on flesh, and his wife's locked away in another room, and they don't even communicate anymore. She comes out of her avatar, or her surrogate comes out of her room, and Bruce Willis is in the flesh, and she's like, "Where's your surrogate?" She wants the really hot-looking Bruce Willis.
Yeah, the better-looking husband.
Right, and he's like, I want to see you, I want to communicate with you, and so. There's that whole concept of that, but it gets lost in this just terrible storyline.
So it seems just a bunch of different movie pieces got piled together and kind of, let's hope this works.
Absolutely. And they try to, bring it off. And even the effects weren't that great. The whole, imagery and, sure, it was really cool to see Bruce Willis look like he did in the 20s. They just the way they made people look younger, for that, when they were playing their surrogates, was really intriguing, almost like in that Benjamin Button sort of a way, where they make, Brad Pitt and Cate Blanchett look so young.
Yeah.
They did this with Bruce Willis as well. But the rest of the movie was just so bad that
it couldn't make up for it?
Yeah. And it was like watching iRobot, because it was just, except iRobot was a really good film. And the Stepford Wives is such a great, movie for its time. It was groundbreaking, but the rest of it was just terrible. It's rated PG-13 for violence and language. It wasn't that bad. I could see where it would teeter almost to PG, except for some of the overall adult themes in it, like murder and mayhem.
The devilish things that happen.
Devilish things. But other than that, it was pretty decent, I think, if it was a good film. If it was a great film, I'd be like, hey, take your 11, 12-year-old. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I don't say take anybody.
Well, not even just for the fact that it's the ratings. It's just a bad movie.
It is, absolutely. And they did all these midnight screenings for it. There was all this hubbub about it, and it did. Everybody, well, me, had some excitement about it, and I think they were really touting it to be this really great film, which it wasn't. So, again, that's Fame and Surrogates, both out in theaters this past weekend. We're going to take a small break, come back, and surprise of all surprise, the Courtney Price is going to join us, and hopefully she won't spend the whole time just making up for all the crude remarks I made on the past shows and trying to just say, oh, by the way, I don't do this, and by the way, but she was involved with a really cool project that I'm excited about, and she definitely should be excited about. So we're going to talk about that, plus a feature that turned out to be one of the hardest things we've done in our top 5.
So difficult.
With Bruce Willis being in Surrogates, I thought, let's do the top 5 worst Bruce Willis roles. There's not that many. And it was shocking to see how well he's done even in bad movies. So we're going to have that top 5 plus a chat with Courtney all coming up right after this on The Mungle Show.